means everybody lives in their own reality. My name is Ashley Wry, and I am currently working towards my Bachelors of Business Administration. And I am here today to talk with you all about the concept of perception. And we're going to talk about three main points today. We're going to talk about what perception is. We're going to talk about what drives an individual's perception, the self-perception theory created by Daryl, Bems, and we're going to briefly discuss how understanding self-perceptions can better you in the business world. So, perception is defined by Kendra Cherry in her article, What is Perception? As a sensory experience of the world that involves both recognizing environmental stimuli and actions in response to these stimuli. Whew, that sounds like a mouthful, doesn't it? I thought so. And so I dug a little deeper in this, and this is the definition I came up with. Our perception is how we choose to understand, feel, and react to a situation internally. This interpretation then guides our external behaviors. Another article called An Introduction to Perception, available on the Mount St. Vincent University Library, states that the perceptual process is a sequence of steps that begin, again with this term, stimuli in the environment, and ends with our interpretation of those stimuli. Now, don't fear. If you're still a little bit confused on what perception is, it's all around individuals' realities and what they choose to see in their experiences and what they choose to take away from it. And so hopefully by now you can see a picture. And I want you to look at this and I want you to consider this, okay? One person could look at this image and they could see two faces, nose to nose, but not touching. Another person could look at this and see a glass, or a chalice rather, sitting just in the middle of a frame. Isn't that interesting how many people can perceive things differently? I think it is. And that made me think about what drives individuals' perceptions. And I'm sure you're a little bit curious too, because by now we understand that perceptions are an individual's reality. And so what drives an individual's reality? What forms that picture in their mind? And a great article on this was called Dissociation Reactional Styles, Interpersonal Behaviors, and a Person Perspective, which is a multi-informant approach journal of social and personal relationships. And from this article, I gathered that when considering perception from a general point of view, the most common drivers of how an individual will form or perceive the situation are typically in a combination of that person's past experiences, current experiences, and particularly their mentality and mood. I think it's very interesting how people can choose to perceive the world differently, and that based on those perceptions and realities we create for ourselves, those guide our social circles and then also guide where we go in life. Daryl Bems goes on to talk about the self-perception theory, and he states that when it comes to social circles, we all find our niche and tend to stay within our designated safe zone. We find similarities in others that allow us to form bonds and tend to find imperfections in outsiders. These quick interpretations are often because of one's developed self-perception. And according to Daryl's article, self-perception theory suggests that people develop attitudes and opinions by observing their behavior and drawing conclusions from it based on their own personal experiences. Hopefully that makes sense, because it all comes down to people in many social circles. We find similarities and we find differences, and those are often what define our relationship. And it all comes down to what's important in that person's reality. Now, I'm sure you guys are wondering by now how this even relates to business, or maybe you can see the value here already. And understanding that every individual at this table or at a table brings a different reality and a different perception front and forward. And most disagreements are caused by different perceptions that are all created by these believed realities. So how this correlates with business is that it can improve your communication skills and overall reduce conflicts that occur in the workplace by simply taking the time to understand where somebody else is coming from, taking the time to identify what's driving them and motivating them to form their reality. so you can identify where the miscommunication occurred and then work to resolve that issue while allowing the parties involved to feel valued, respected, and heard. Isn't that all what we want at the end of the day? To have a voice, to feel like our point of view has been seen? Overall, this understanding can really improve your day-to-day life, not just in the working world, people, but in your everyday life. Being conscientious and aware, it's a great skill to have. So hopefully I didn't bore you guys too much, but all in all, I hope you understand from today that perception is how we each choose to interpret the events in our lives to form our individual reality. And I hope that you guys understand that individual self-perceptions are guided by their personal experiences and internal interpretations of events in life. And how taking the time to understand self-perceptions or other people's realities can help individuals to prevent conflicts by simply allowing them to feel valued, respected, and heard. Now, in the words of Roberto Bolaño, people see what they want to see, and what people want to see never has anything to do with the truth. So if you remember anything from today, I hope you understand and remember that every individual in this world has their own reality, and each of us brings a different perception to the table. Thank you all for your time today.